Welcome, everyone. We are so glad that you're here tonight. We really appreciate that you're taking time out of your busy schedule to be part of this, to understand the platforms and get to know the candidates a little bit better. This group, this event tonight, is really kind of an outgrowth of some work that's being done with a group that call themselves Jolt and Jive. They meet at 8 o'clock on Thursday morning in the Cove in Crookston. And what they do is talk about ways to engage people within the community and community ideas, community problems that needed to be addressed. So anyone is welcome. If you need coffee on Thursday mornings, join the Jolt and Jive group. I've been there a few times. It's been a very lively conversation about one of the things to go there. I'd like to do a great shout out tonight to a number of people who helped make this possible. In addition to the Jolt and Jive group, I'm Mary Holtzclaws with the University of Minnesota Crookston, and many of our people tonight have been very involved in setting up the facilities, our food service, so again I want to thank them. And also a special shout out for our Director of Outreach and Engagement, Michelle Christopherson, Del Scully, who you just heard, who gave the land acknowledgement statement. And our moderator tonight is Dr. Rosemary Johnson. Johnson is Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, and she's starting her second year in that role. Prior to that, she was Associate Vice Chancellor here for 1 year. She hails originally from Michigan and spent a large portion of her academic career in Illinois. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Rosemary Johnson, who will be both the moderator and tell a little bit about what's going to happen this evening.
Welcome to this evening's forum. We are delighted to have you on our campus. As the Chancellor said, I'm Rosemary Johnson, the Senior Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, and I will be facilitating the questions and answers this evening. This is an event intended to provide voters with information about the candidates running for 4 different offices. It is not a campaign event or a debate, but an informational forum for candidates to address questions of interest to voters. Many great questions were submitted by members of the public. We could not use all of them, but they are the basis for tonight's questions. Candidates received a list of topics that recurred in those submitted questions, but they have not been given the questions themselves. The number and approach to questions has been adapted for the number of candidates in each group, and I'll describe that when we get to each new set of questions. We will bring candidates for each office on stage in turn, beginning with the 2 candidates from Minnesota House District 1B. Candidates are available after their time on stage for your follow-up questions or casual conversations at tables set up in the lobby of the auditorium where you enter the building. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves and their priorities. At the end of the Q&A part, each candidate will have 1 minute to give a closing statement. Time limits for introductions, responses to questions, and closing statements will be strictly enforced by my timer on my phone because we have a lot of great information to be gleaning this evening. So we will turn to the 2 candidates for Minnesota House of Representatives District 1B. We have Mike Christopherson, the DFL candidate, and Steve Hander, the Republican candidate. So we will go in alphabetical order for the self-introductions, and then after we've had both of those, we will move on to 3 questions for this pair of candidates. So I will ask Mike Christopherson to start, and I'm going to set the timer. And when you hear it go off, that means you got 5 seconds to sort of close your mouth.
Hello everyone, thanks for being here tonight. Thanks to the Jolt and Jive crew for making this happen and everyone that helped them out to make this happen. My name is Mike Christopherson, obviously. I'm running for Minnesota House District 1B. I'm the unanimously endorsed DFL candidate. I've been married to my wife Michelle for 28 years. We met in college at Moorhead State. I've called District 1B home since 1977 when I was in second grade. My parents are from here, Crookston, Climax, Elwood area. They moved to Seattle when they got married young, so my dad could work at Boeing. But they always wanted to come back, and so this has been my home for decades. Michelle and I, we probably thought we were going to leave and go to, bigger and better places like a lot of young people do. But we realized that this is a better place right here. So we raised two boys here. Ethan is going to be 26 very soon. Trey just turned 23. They too went to school elsewhere and probably thought they were never going to come back either, but they are back. Ethan works right here. He's the senior admissions counselor. Trey is a banker at Bremer. So we are fully invested in this community and this region, not just me, but my family. I was editor of the Crookston Times I was at the Crookston Times for more than 20 years. It was split in the middle by me working out here for 3 years in service learning. So for that time, I was the watchdog at every meeting, every discussion, every event you can imagine, with my laptop, typing away, recording people, taking notes. So I kind of have maybe not a deep knowledge base of every issue there is, but I do know something about everything pretty much. The Times was owned by the biggest newspaper corporation in the world. The corporate pressure got to be too great, cutting my staff, cutting funds. So I resigned in the summer of 2021 and I got my teaching license. I'm a Tier 1 licensed teacher. I teach in Fisher. I'm licensed for middle school and high school communication arts and literature, but I do whatever they tell me every day. I'm in the union, I'm on contract. Yesterday I taught second grade, today I taught high school. So I also bring that to the table when I go to St. Paul.
All right. Thank you. Now we will turn it over to candidate Steve.
Yes. Am I coming through all right? Good. So my name is Steve Gander. I'm running for 1B also on the Republican side. Happy to be here. Been in Crookston 1,000 times, a million times since 1996. We have an optometry clinic here as well as in East Grand Forks. If you've seen the work going on at the Arby's building, now we're putting a new roof on it, so that's our clinic over there. Love this community, love this whole region. I did grow up in East Grand Forks, Minnesota since the year 1961, that'll give you an idea. And attended public schools there, finished up. My wife and I both graduated the same year back then. We didn't date until our 10-year high school reunion. Her name is Roz, and we got married in 1990, so I tell you, we've been married for 34 years. We have 2 grown sons, now both back in the area. Tom had to go away for medical school, but he's now back and doing a residency for family practice at Altru. And John works at Northern Valley Machine as an electrical engineer over there at NVM in East Grand Forks. So Roz and I have been married since, as I mentioned, 1990. And we all came through UND, I know. But as I've been door knocking all around these cities, there's a ton of UND fans out there. Any thumbs up to that? We love UMC, of course. I've been an optometrist for now 37 years in this area, and happy to serve patients in this area. I've served on lots of different boards and commissions throughout this whole region, a lot of times in long-term care, been a member of an advisory board for the Good Samaritan Nursing Center, came through the city government in East Grand, have served as a council member at large for 2 terms, now mayor for the last 8 years. And what a privilege, what an honor to serve. Folks say you got kind of worn out, got tired of serving as mayor. No, it's good. But I do want to extend that service to the greater area, and that's why I'm running. Thanks.
Right. Thank you. So now we have 3 questions, and because we have 2 candidates, they will answer the same 3 questions. I will start with Mike and then go to Steve, and then for question 2, we'll come back the other way. And then after we have the 3 questions answered, then they will have an opportunity to make closing statements. So this is 1 minute. The thing is going to go off again with the 5-second warning for you. So our first question is, what do you believe are reasonable remedies to address the growing need for childcare in the district?
Well, when I was asked why I was running, I said I wanted to be a voice of reason in St. Paul. And I had people say, oh, come on, everyone wants to say that. But I got to thinking about what are reasonable issues that Steve and I might agree on, where I'm not in my camp and he's in his camp. Childcare is one of those. It's a staple of my campaign. I have two good friends in town here that are very successful childcare providers, and they're worrying about potential new regulations, putting them out of business potentially, so I would want to be a watchdog for that. But if you want to work here, live here, and you can't find childcare, that is a major drain on a lot of things. If a mom or dad has to stay home with the kids, but they would prefer to work, that's a drain on the workforce. I'm reading a lot about pods and things like that. I mean, there are people that want to be childcare providers, but they don't want to do it in their home. And I've been reading these successful pod stories, which I'd like to look into. But I also know that we need to pay these providers better. You go and get an early childhood degree or something like that, and you're working at a child care center and you're not making enough to live on. So we need to look into that as well. But this is, I just said downstairs to someone, if I'm elected, my coffee table has 6 legs on it, and childcare is one of the main legs that I will focus on as a reasonable elected official in St. Paul.
Okay, thank you. So now the same question for candidate Gander. Let me make sure I'm ready to roll here. I'll read it again. What do you believe are reasonable remedies to address the growing need for childcare in the district?
Thank you very much. I agree that regulation has become an increasingly significant problem for childcare providers, and this last wave of regulation, and I'm not going to sit here and run down one party or another, but right now the Democrats have control of the Senate and the House and the governor's office, and they came with a wave of regulation that's going to sink a lot of private child care centers right at the time when we need it the most. We recognize the need for this over at East Grand Forks. We brought in a group, the Rural Child Care Innovation Program in East Grand Forks, First Children's Finance with the Minnesota Department of Human Services. We convened meetings, we talked about what's working, what's not, celebrating the child care providers that we have and finding out what their plans are for the future, how can they expand and grow, what financing issues did they encounter, because a lot of it is financing for improvements that they want to make. We added 70 new child care positions in East Grand Forks during that effort, and it's still growing out of that.
Okay, thank you. Now for the second question, we'll start with candidate Gander. This is a question about representing constituents and constituent services. How will you gather and track input from constituents about issues and concerns in the district? And how would you bring those concerns back to the Capitol?
Yeah. As mayor, and I hope you could talk to our city staff over there, when I sense that there's someone who has a really more particular need, maybe they have psychotic illness, maybe they are a refugee who's come more recently, maybe they are someone with some developmental delays, we will really, really double down on serving those people especially well, because they have a hard time accessing any services that they need. And then that would extend, how do you treat the least of these or the most challenging folks? That's how we're going to treat every single person. Legislative staff can really keep good track of calls coming in, and they can guide me and guide that constituent, that resident, to the services that they need, and I'll take ownership of it. Deb Keel has helped a lot of people, as I'm door knocking here and there. Deb helped with this and Deb helped with. So I said, Deb, how do you do it? And she said, I have good staff. And that's going to be the key, because we're in a lot of meetings, we're in a lot of sessions, and we're going to need some good help from staff to bring that accountability back to you. Ultimately, the tale is told. Did develop a
Yeah, it did.
That's about the first time, but it's been pretty quiet.
Okay.
Really, re-election will be the litmus test of did we deliver or did we not. Thanks.
Thank you.
Right in here.
No, I agree. It did get quieter, and I don't know why, because I did not change the volume. Hold on.
I just get an extra 10 seconds.
All right. Okay, so now the question for candidate Christopherson, I will again repeat it. How will you gather and track input from constituents about issues and concerns in the district? And how would you bring those concerns back to the Capitol?
Okay, I loved when I saw that this might be a topic covered, so I would go back to my newspaper reporter days. I would never dream of going to an event like this, and I covered many of these forums. I wouldn't dream of going to a school board meeting or anything and just relying on my memory. I had my laptop everywhere, I had a notebook everywhere, I recorded if I needed to, because I would forget. And think how the larger elected people get when people come to them with their concerns, their questions, something they don't know about. So you don't want to have an elected official just like nodding and saying, oh yes, and all that, and then it's like, are they really hearing me? You don't want elected officials say, go to my website and submit a question and, go through that process. You don't want to have your elected officials say, hey, drop me an email, and I'll respond, or I'll have my staff respond. I want to have me or my staff record that, we'll put it on a spreadsheet down in St. Paul, we'll put it under topic areas, and we will see what did we get accomplished and where do we still have a lot of work to do.
Okay, thank you. I think we fixed the volume.
Scared the crap out.
So the third question, we'll start with candidate Christopherson. Please discuss your position on public funding for charter schools and school vouchers.
I'm all in favor of charter schools, homeschooling, any kind of private school you can imagine. If that's the choice a family makes that they think is best for their kids, then they have that choice. I'm all for it. I don't want public tax dollars going towards that. I don't want tax dollars siphoned away from our public education system to go towards that. But I have nothing against it. I know people that had their kids go to private schools and they have great stories, but they're also paying for that. And they're not demanding that I get some money, public money for them. And charter schools, you hear the word charter school and you're like, wow, a charter school must be amazing, creative, innovative. But the Star Tribune just did a huge series, a week or two ago that they struggle too with academics and social skills. And maybe it's just tough to educate people, and I've seen that now. But I want to change the way we fund some things and teach our kids.
Okay, thank you. Now, candidate Gander, please discuss your position on public funding for charter schools and school vouchers.
Really want to start by saying I'm a big fan of public education. It's what separates this great nation from a lot of developing countries. I was in Brazil some years ago, and the kids come out of school like 10, 11, 12, 15 years old and go into the factories, making sure that the cycle of poverty will continue. We educate our folks really well. I came through the public schools, my wife and my two sons, public schools. Now, to the question of what do we do about other options, I do believe we need to challenge every student to their full potential. I'd love for that to happen in the public schools. The whole spectrum, from those who have the developmental delays to the most gifted and everyone in between. And if someone who chooses to break out of that, and again, I think schools should be run at a local level. I don't want to run from the Fed, and I don't want to run from the state. The school decisions have to come locally at the local school board level. So you don't need a state mandate saying yes or no to charter schools, private schools. So I think there's a place for them, and that decision is a local decision, not a state decision.
Okay, thank you. Those are the questions that we were going to set for you, and now you will each have a minute to deliver a closing statement. So we will start with candidate Gander because we began the opening statements in the other order.
I love this area. My love for this area has only increased with door knocking every town from here to Foston, to Plummer, to Fertile, to Ada, to Borup, this is a really great community that we live in. So many good people. Whether they agree with me or not, standing on the porch, the overall sentiment I've been getting is, thanks for being here. You're running for the State House, you're standing on my porch, and we're having this conversation right now. Thanks for doing this. And it feels good to bring the process to them, to their porch, and to be accountable to them. So I extend that, of course, to everyone here. I want to be accountable to you. In all that I do in serving down in St. Paul, I am accountable to you. And if you cast a vote For my friend over here, I'm still accountable to you. Please know that. I have no ill will toward anyone ever because there are honest disagreements on issues. So be happy to go down and represent each and every one. And thanks for this opportunity.
Okay, so why don't we give the candidates a round of applause for just think what it's going to be like by the time we get to the end, right? With the 7 school board candidates. I am so sorry.
Thank you and good night.
Take it away.
Well, I will agree with him. I've been surprised when I've been meeting with people, how many people say thank you for doing this. And that never even occurred to me that anyone would thank me for giving this a try. And I say, you don't have to thank me, I made my own decision. But moving beyond that, this voice of reason that I'm trying to be is childcare, it's housing, it's rural healthcare, and it's broadband internet, and then the other 2 legs on that coffee table that I talked about are public education and agriculture and agribusiness. Beyond, I don't have time to talk about all that. I've been talking about it all summer, so I will just go into this. I believe you can vote for the person over the party, and I just had a student in Fisher. He's been asking me for a week, and I put one of your signs in my yard, and they have a Trump fan sign in their yard. And I said, you need to talk to your mom. And yesterday he sent me an email, and he said, she said yes, she voted for you. So we can, when you're doing that personal pen ballot voting booth, no one knows who you voted for. You can vote for the person over the party.
Thanks very much to both of you. They will be available downstairs for further conversation if you want to ask follow-up questions or talk about things that did not make it into the 3 preset questions. I appreciate the opportunity to facilitate in this very ad hoc sort of way. Thank you so much. Okay, so our next set of candidates is for the Polk County Commission. Okay. We're ready. Okay, we are appreciative that candidate Wilhite is here to talk to us this evening. We follow the same basic format, so he will have the 2 minutes to do his statement. The candidates were told in advance that they would have the opportunity for a 2-minute opening statement, a 1-minute closing statement with questions in between. So I will turn it over to you. And I assume you heard the magic of the timer going off. So when it goes off, you got 5 seconds to close off your thoughts.
Yeah, we can do that. Well, it's very unfortunate that the other 2 commissioners are not here tonight. I'm not sure if they had a conflict. I know our colleagues in the farming got in business. And this is kind of prime time for harvest. But hopefully you'll have an opportunity to learn a little bit about what their priorities are. Also, there'll be a county newsletter coming out within a couple of weeks, and we hope that 3 of us have all provided a document to be able to read that. But yes, I am Gary Wilhite, currently County Commissioner for District 3, which represents primarily Crookston and 5 area townships surrounding Crookston. I serve as chair of the commission board this particular year, which has been enjoyable and very, very busy. A little bit about my family. Moved here back in 1978 and had an opportunity to work at this fine university. It's very comfortable to be back. Very nice to see you too. And I've enjoyed that as an administrator here, enjoyed working with the staff. students. It was a wonderful career. During that time, I also had an opportunity to get involved with the city council. Served as a vice mayor for 4 years and then 2 years as mayor. And then an opening opened up here with Mr. Nicholas. I see him tonight, doing a very fine job. Decided not to run and that opened that position for that. I have 4 children. 2 of them, I'm proud to say, University of Minnesota degrees. And the others, Concordia, University of Southern California. And that's the family.
Okay. So I will put 2 questions to you, and the time for answer is 1 minute. So here's a very direct question. What are your ideas to draw business and residents to Polk County?
Well, I think that has been, on our agendas for probably a couple of decades, and to a certain extent, with some satisfaction with new people coming in. Obviously, we're an aging community, and it's difficult sometimes to convince individuals from the southern part of the state to come up north. Okay, so that's something that we're not going to probably do a whole lot. We're not going to put an outdoor furnace, but I was a little concerned about that my first year up here in Crookston. I recall we were in apartments opening up a garage, and one January morning I went out to start the vehicle, and the ship handle came off of my hand. I thought, it is cold up here. So sometimes that does kind of fear people about, but I do think we do have a new choice. Can you sort of that?
Yes.
Okay, with the fact that a lot of folks now can work out of home, can be anywhere they want to be. 4 or 5 children that are working in various industries are all actually working at home. They have to do some travel. So they can essentially live anywhere. Unfortunately, 2 of them are still in California. I haven't persuaded them to come back yet. But I think that does open a door. I think that we have a lot of things. It's a great community. When I came up here to interview, I knew after walking out, this was the community, this is the people that I wanted to work with, because they care so much about each other. And that's maybe the highlight, the message that we need to get out to folks. The schools are great. Our kids did real good in school. They had a lot of opportunities to be involved in activities. And I think those are the types of things, the style of life that you can have here in Crookston. We have some crime as other people's do, but that's certainly nothing like other large cities. And I think a rural community is an excellent place, and Crookston certainly should be on the top of their list.
Okay. What, in your view, are the most critical issues facing Polk County? Please name 2 issues and briefly discuss one of them.
Well, there's several, and of course they vary from year to year. I think one of the most difficult issues that we're dealing right now is inflation. Our costs of everything in the county obviously is going up too. Insurance, gasoline for vehicles, and it's wages for staff and that type of thing. They certainly reserve an increase of COLA from year to year. I've spent the last 2 months dealing with our 8 unions negotiations, and that seems to be going well. But matching money with the county's needs, and then of course the people here in the community are also fighting with inflation with their budgets too. So to find a balance, to have a manageable levy increase, that's what we've been working on here in the last couple of weeks, to try to kind of make that match.
Okay, great, thank you. So now you have another minute.
Well, there's certainly a lot to do, and I talked about, would have talked about waste management. There've been a lot of challenges with our incinerator in Boston, with state regulations. I think that may have been cleared up in the last week. There were a lot of folks that didn't think that incinerators were the way to take care of waste. They wanted to put it in landfills. A lot of people have problems with landfills. Recycling obviously is an easy recommendation to go with, and we certainly do that on a county basis. But I think that's certainly an issue that we're going to be working on. Rural water, I think is important for our smaller communities. We were able to put some dollars, some of the COVID dollars, ARP dollars, to go in to bring in some fresh water into Climax, Minnesota. And that's a small community, but obviously that pipe can go to the south and it can go to the east and take care of a lot of smaller communities. Those are just a couple of things. There's probably a list of about 10, but.
Okay, thank you so much for coming this evening to answer the questions and share a little bit of information with us about your priorities. Can we thank and again, there is a space designated for him downstairs that you can hang out at, and would welcome further conversation with all of you. So thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Okay, our next candidate group is Crookston City Council. So in this group, we have 4 candidates here, and we'll follow the same procedure. Each one of them will have 2 minutes to do a self-introduction and clarify some of their priorities. Then we will have 2 questions for each candidate, and I'll explain a little bit about the questions after we've had the self-introductions. And then at the end, again, 1 minute for a closing statement. So that is how we will proceed. I'm just going to go in alphabetical order here, so Wendy Alt is first.
Well, first, I'm really excited to be here, and I just want to thank everybody else for coming out and UMC for hosting this event for us. This before, so it's pretty new to me, but I guess I'll just say that to me, Crookston isn't just a place to live. It's a vibrant, diverse community that is constantly evolving, and I take pride in being a part of that.
Okay. All right. Our next candidate then is Morgan Hibna.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Morgan Hibna, and I'm excited to be here with all of you this evening. I live here in Crookston with my husband, my son, and our dog. I joined the City Council last summer, and it has truly been a rewarding experience. I have also had the privilege of serving on the Crookston Economic and Development Authority since January of 2023. During my time on the council, I have genuinely enjoyed giving back to our community. It's fulfilling to be part of a team that's working diligently and so hard to make Crookston a better place for all of us. As we look ahead, I'm focused on 3 key areas: bringing economic growth to town, increasing housing options, and improving our daycare availability in our community. My vision is to make Crookston a place where families want to live and thrive. I'd also like to take this time to thank everyone that is here tonight and is watching and listening in. I'd also like to thank UMC for hosting this event and Empower Crookston and Jolton Jive for putting this together. I'm excited for tonight's discussions and look forward to working together with everyone to make our community stronger. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The next candidate then is going to be Bishop Jensen.
Hello, my name is Bishop Jensen. Am I in the mic here? I'm sorry. Hello, my name is Bishop Jensen. I'm happy to be here and be a part of my community, just in the simplest ways of being a new candidate to the scene. I hope that people will find me to be transparent in that way. As far as my demographical and social background to the environment, I am from Crookston. My family occupy a home here, and several other members of my family are property owners, as well as people in your community working hard in several different sectors. So that being said, I have a natural interest in my community's well-being, and I hope that you guys find that, and that you see that in me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, rounding out the alphabetical order,
Hi, I'm
Christy Jurdy.
and I'm running for re-election for Ward 1. I've been a proud resident of Crookston for the last 18 years. I live here with my husband and my 2 children. I've chosen Crookston as my home because this is a place that I feel is a safe and welcoming environment for my children and for my family. As far as my background is concerned, my degrees are in anthropology and I have a master's in administration and leadership. It's been a pleasure working with the University of Minnesota for the last 8 years, which is originally why I came here, and I think also really says the importance of having the university in our city. I then went on to MDSU and started a nonprofit, as well as working for some Fortune 500 companies most recently. I'm seeking re-election because I think that our council's come a really long ways. I think that when I first started here as a council member, we had a real issue with transparency, and do I think that we probably could do better? Absolutely. But when I came onto council, we were only audio recording our council meetings. We've come a long ways from that. We now broadcast those on YouTube. We have transcripts of those for those who need it, as well as we do that through community broadcasting as well. I think another big priority and things that have changed since being on council is we've hired the right PA director, and we've had a director that's come in and helped bring millions of dollars in the last last year and a half, I should say. She's really done some amazing work, and as part of that, I think that helping push forward those initiatives is a big part of why I'm seeking re-election. In addition to that, I think that we need to be more strategic in our planning, and I think that that hasn't been something that we've done in the past. And so we're really pushing forward to have a municipal finance plan as well as a long-term strategy instead of trying to throw things against the wall, which I think has kind of been a little bit of the way that things have been done in the past. I think our council is very strong and very forward-thinking, and I'm really excited to push forward with those initiatives. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate the University of Minnesota as well as the Jolt and Jive and Power Crookston for being here and supporting us, and thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. So we will now have questions. Each candidate will be asked 2 questions. Because it's a larger group, they're not going to all get the same question right? So the first time through the questions, each one will be different, and then there's a kind of random selection so that we'll see which questions end up being asked second. And I'm going to start going in reverse alphabetical order here because we went alphabetical this way. So we will start with Councilor Jurdy. And the first question is, and this is actually something related to what you were just talking about. How would you address municipal needs for financial planning and ensure accountability to taxpayers?
Absolutely. I think that's been a real big issue, and I don't think that's an issue that started even in my term. I think most recently, I know that's been a hot topic for me, and I've been quite vocal about that concerning how the things have really transpired, especially in the last 2 years. I think what we've done most recently to address that is we have found some leadership in both the Director of Finance as well as the City Administrator who really have a strong background in municipal finances. I think some of the things that as a council we've pushed forward so far is actually engaging elders to create a municipal finance plan, which is more strategic and allows us actually to get a rating and to also be able to bond for some of the future infrastructure that we have. I also think that by engaging Clifton Larson, we've righted a lot of the concerns that have been not only in the last 4 years, but probably further than that. We have put in some SOPs or some ways of strategically making sure that things are happening in a certain way as well as best practices for our finances. as well as we talked about quarterly check-ins with our financial organization, as well as a better alignment going forward as of January 1.
Okay, thank you for that answer. So then the next question will go to candidate Jensen, and it is, what investments would make the city more attractive to current and prospective residents?
Well, my main platform, and a large reason why I decided to approach this for myself individually, is this is my hometown environment, and its infrastructure is critical to its survival. That being said, what I've seen is Crookston has never shorted itself in the past when it comes to its infrastructure. We went from grand, huge iron gate bridges downtown to our very decorated, beautiful bridges that we have now, as well as maintaining and trying to protect our downtown regions and its infrastructures. My biggest concern when it comes to these things is if we don't do that, we have no curb appeal. And not only do we not have a curb appeal then for outsiders to come in for economic development to grow, but we don't have the equity in our community as individuals. And so that being said, that's also very important to me and the fundamentals of Crookston's survival going into the future. The diking systems around the river corridors is a big topic. They're very established. And we did spend quite a bit of time and energy doing that. I think it's foreseeable that we need to do that with the rest of the corridors when it comes to their infrastructure, as well as other parts of our community.
Okay, thank you. The next question then is for candidate Hibma, and it is, how can the city work more closely with the University of Minnesota Crookston?
Great, thank you for asking me that. I feel like there's a few different ways that we can go about that. I think, first off, I would love to see the city working closely with the university on creating internships and jobs within our community, not only at the city, but also reaching out to different workforce and organizations within our community and helping match those places, because I think it's important to try to retain many of those students here. Another thing that I would love to see take place is an involvement within the sports and the organization, also within our community. I think it's important for us to get that word out to our community and try to draw people here to also see how wonderful this organization and this university is. I would also love to utilize, and we have with the economic development, the EDA, on the classes we use, the marketing classes here to help us come up with marketing strategies and marketing plans, and giving students real life experience when they are here. So I think that there's different ways that we can use and utilize the university, and how we can also work with the students to try to keep them here after graduation.
Good, thank you. Candidate Alt, the question for you is, how can the city council improve equitable access to city services and resources?
Wow, that is a good question. I think just by making sure we get those resources out there in front of people, and really we've come a long way in just the last 6 months in getting things out in front of people. And so really the knowledge is the power, right? The more you talk about it, the more you get it out in front of people, the more they'll be able to utilize those services.
Okay, so the next question, and I think what I'll do for this next question is we'll just move up the table from that end up here. I'm probably overthinking all of this, right? But it's supposed to be neutral. So we're back to candidate Jensen then. So here's your question. How will you model and promote community engagement?
Well, modeling and promoting community engagement starts with the community, first and foremost. And doing that, I feel like, on an individual level, bring that example, just being a young candidate, speaking to you now. So that you can definitely find in me as an individual, but now as a community standard for engagement, that comes from community support in engagement. So that's working with the city for planned events, that's working with city organizations or public clubs and things, and incorporating them in with one another. Crookston has a thriving community when it comes to various sectors. We have things like the Eagles Club and the Lions Club and the Kiwanis Club and the Collectors Corner and a very thriving senior citizen center, as well as our constantly evolving and developing housing situations. And so that being said, driving inclusiveness into Crookston and promoting Crookston, being at Crookston and Crookston space value being what it is, I think will speak for itself on those levels and bring its own economic development as it should, as long as we maintain our city.
Okay, thank you. So now coming up the table, Councilor Jurdy, your question is, and now this is going to be, we've heard this question once, and so the next few questions will be repeats, but they won't be asked of someone who already answered that question. So for you, what investments would make the city more attractive to current and prospective residents?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as a parent, I would first say things that would attract young families. I think that's really like a housing study or a comprehensive plan. I think that there's definitely a little bit of a brain drain, if you will, meaning that we have younger individuals who are coming here for university and leaving, or are going other places for university and staying. And so I think a necessary enhancement would be having more businesses that will really focus and provide a high-paying job for individuals to stay here. Along with that, I think is really pushing through for childcare. It seems like a pretty simplistic idea, but there is a huge crisis for us, along with many of the people in our state, especially in rural areas. So I think that's a really big piece for us, as well as just having the housing available. And I think those are all things that a lot of rural communities are really dealing with right now, as far as the cost of them, as far as just providing that type of workforce housing. So those are some elements I think that are important. But I also think that, promoting this place, like similarly to what Groundworks is doing with the Blue Zone, is providing walking paths, providing an indoor playground for kids, things that are actually going to be things that people don't have to drive to Groundworks for, right? The things that our kids are going to want to do or need to do. As a parent with a 3-year-old, I would drive to Groundworks all the time to put in the indoor playground because we were going to go crazy. So I think it's just providing elements that we see in other communities that they don't have to go away for to do. So I think those are things to think about as we go forward. Thank you.
Okay. Candidate Hidma, how would you address municipal needs for financial planning and ensure accountability to taxpayers?
Yes, this is a great question as we are in the middle of talking budget with the City Council. As Councilwoman Jurdy mentioned, we have been working with Ellers to come up with a financial plan, to set ourselves and come up with a 5-year plan, because right now, I've heard it, I own a house and pay taxes myself, that a big concern is what our tax rate is. But I think we also have to realize that there is infrastructure that has to be fixed and it has to be taken care of. And there are certain needs that we have to take care of. It's not a want at this point, it is a need. And to working with different financial groups and those 5-year plans and coming up with those strategies so we can best set forth what we need to do and how we're going to spend that money to take care of our community and what is needed. And then the next thing is I myself have asked, and we've had problems in the past, and it's not a secret, of where we are with our accounting. And my goal is, and I've asked many times, that I want month-end closes at the end of the first week of every month. So we know where we stand at the moment with our money, and that needs to be reported back to our taxpayers and our community.
Okay, thank you. Candidate Alt, your second question is, how would you model and promote community engagement?
Good. Community engagement. So it's kind of similar to my last answer, I guess. It is really just making sure that you get things out in front of people, but we do have really great community engagement here. We have all sorts of activities all the time, and there's always a huge turnout. So I think we do a really good job of that, but again, it really is just about communicating those things, getting it in front of people, and fostering that community.
Okay, great, thank you. So now, having question and answer part of the program. Now each candidate has an opportunity for a 1-minute closing statement. Because the opening position statements are not in alphabetical order, we will go in alphabetical order in reverse for these closing statements. So, Christy Jerky is first.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for their time. I think just to kind of reiterate in consideration of my reelection is that, I think we've come a long ways, but I know that we have a long ways to go. My priorities definitely are promoting business and really working with their economic development, continuing to look for avenues for workforce housing as well as childcare, and also just like looking at the long-term goals we have. I think that our council has really been very forward-thinking. I think there's a lot of opportunity for us going forward, and I'd like to keep up that momentum. I think in addition, I recently was appointed to the board of directors for the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities, and that is the advocacy group or the lobbying group for a lot of the things that we're doing as the legislature. And so I think this just also assists me in helping be the voice, not only for the city of Crookston, but also for the region, and really pushing forward these things that are really important issues to our city. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So our next closing statement will be from candidate Jensen.
I would just like to say that I am truly humbled to even have the opportunity to run in my hometown community. And I hope that most of you can identify me in that way as a candidate, being a new voice and a new face, not only on this stage, but I'm sure to just some of you in general, even though I am from here. I would like you to know that my stance is a stance of transparency, and it's also a stance of public growth. Public growth over private growth is very critical when it comes to small rural communities. Small rural communities often get wrapped up in private growth for private sectors and often have private agendas. So I would like to be clear that my candidacy will stand on a very public-oriented front or basis. That I am here to oversee or to hopefully help oversee what is best for Crookston, not only just for my ward and myself, but as a whole, first and foremost. And I hope that that's very clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, closing statement from candidate Hibba.
Again, I'd like to thank everybody that is here and that is listening in and watching. I think it's important that everybody takes a moment and watches what is going on in their community. Again, as I said, I chose to run and stay with the city council because I truly love this community. I want to make this a place that my son, when he grows up, wants to stay here, that he wants to be here, but he also has the ability to stay here because of economic and housing growth. I believe that my goal here is to continue to make Crookston strive and be better. This is a great community, and I just want to make sure that it stays that way. I think we have a great momentum going on within the city council. I think we are all having set agendas and we know where it's at. We all are looking forward to growth and making sure that our community members have what they need, and making sure that our infrastructure is staying strong. And I just would love to stay and help our community out. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And then the final closing statement will be from Wendy Holt.
I had so many things I wanted to talk about tonight, but I didn't get to hit on very many of them. So what I will say is I know the finances are a hard part for some people, but we're working on it, and it'll get better, and we'll get there, and we've made so much progress, and we'll continue to do that, I know. Also, just the community is really important to me. I do a whole lot of volunteer work here. I'm raising children here, so that is what nudged me to join the city council. I wanted to do more. I wanted to be able to make more of an impact, and hopefully I'm able to continue doing that. The citizens come forward with concerns often. We want to hear those, we want to listen to them and deal with them tactfully. So please don't hesitate to go to city council meetings or to reach out to the city anytime you have questions or concerns. And as election day gets closer, I just ask for your support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So again, let's give this group a round of applause. And they will be available downstairs. But again, thanks to everyone. Okay, our next group is school board candidates. I can hear them back there. So I think it is a good sign about a community that there is a really robust slate of people running for the school board. So we welcome candidates Melissa Burnett, Lori Capistran, Jacqueline Martin, Adam Schiller, Mike Tice, Casey Thompson, and Connie Wilkins. I hope I didn't mispronounce anyone's name. So we will begin, as we have with the other candidate groups, with a 2-minute opening statement from each candidate. We will go through those, this first set in alphabetical order. When the timer goes off, you've got 5 seconds left to, round off your thought. So that's what the noxious noise means. So whenever you're ready.
I'm Melissa Burnett. I've lived in Crookston for 42 years. I have 6 children. 2 have graduated, and I have 3 still going through our school district currently, from 5th grade to 9th grade. So I see a lot more years in our school district in my future. I am currently running for school board, hoping to help add a little diversity to the board, to continue to work on the culture and change in our community, in our school district, I should say. I'm hoping to be able to help individuals with any transparency when it comes to our school board, any questions, just learning together, I think. As a mom of 5, I've had a lot of questions and I've seen a lot of different changes go on in our school over the course of the years. And I went to school here as well, so I mean, there's been a lot of changes. So it would be nice, I think, the reason that I'm running is just to be able to continue to be a part of that and help as much as I can.
Okay, thank you. Our next statement then will be from Lori Capistran.
Good evening. My name is Lori Capistran. I am a mom. I'm a member of a farm family from here in the Red River Valley. I'm also an involved community member. So why am I running for school board? I care a lot about the kids and the families in our district, and I also care a lot about our teachers and our staff who are working really hard each and every day to provide education for our children. I want to see our kids get a strong, well-rounded education, and I want them to be prepared for life after school. I'm hoping that they become kind and caring community members and citizens out in our community. I've always been willing to give of my time to try to, help make our community better. I currently, I serve on the Crookston Civic Music League board and the Friends of the Library board. The first group works hard to bring entertainment right here into our community so we don't have to travel outside. The second board raises funds so that we can help support our local library right here down in Crookston. I've been actively involved in the parent-teacher organizations in the schools from the time my kids have been little, for many years. And I'm also a parent leader and a volunteer helping support kids in the 4-H programs here in Polk County. And probably most currently, I'm part of the committee that's helping raise funds for the new playground at Highland, the all-inclusive playground, which is set to open in about a week and a half, and is very exciting for both the kids and our community. If elected, I guess I plan to bring the same care and commitment and dedication to the Crookston School Board. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next statement is Jacqueline Martin.
Hello, I'm Jacqueline Martin. A little bit about me. I am also a mother of 3 children currently attending Crookston Public Schools. I also graduated Crookston as well a long time ago. I'm a resident in Crookston School District for about 34 years. I left just to go to college and came right back here. I have experience in education. I have a bachelor's degree from Gustavus Adolphus College, and my major there was elementary education K-8. I have 15 years experience in mentoring, coaching, leading youth. I'm an involved member of our local Trinity Lutheran Church. Some of the reasons I'm running, I'm very passionate about education, the future of our children, and also continuing the positive path that our district is on. I think we're doing a great job, as other candidates stated about, all-inclusive playgrounds. We have the new Carex Radio Stadium. I think those are great facilities and playgrounds that we're going to be able to bring new families and new students here. And I also want to continue to see our cell phone policy grow. I know it's not an ideal subject for some people, but I really like the idea of it. I like that kids are able to talk face to face with one another again. And I'd just like to continue to see, do more work on that and making that even stronger. And then I also just want to be a positive voice for all children, students, teachers, and our community. And I also want to help the district get back on track, becoming competitive schools with surrounding areas. I know that's always a hot topic, is how can we be more competitive in academics, athletics, and arts. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. So the next opening statement will be Adam Schiller.
Good evening, my name's Adam Schiller. I've been a resident of Crookston for 13 years. Grew up in southern Minnesota, Redwood Falls, graduated from UMC here in the early 2000s. I am the lone widowed parent of 3 students in the Crookston School District. My wife graduated from Crookston, 150 in her graduating class. There's 70 in my oldest graduating class. That concerns me. I recently, a year ago, quote unquote, retired from the Grand Forks Fire Department as a career firefighter for a schedule that better suits me and my kids. I am now in charge of operations for Trilogy Ag out of Argyle. Active in the community, Trinity Lutheran Church. I'm an alumni member of the FFA chapter here in Crookston. And I also serve on the board of directors for a state organization called Hearts of Hope. It's a family grief camp and organization. My platform is pretty simple. It's 4 bullet points, but after that, they can go many different directions. It's safety, quality of education, fiscal responsibility, and retention and recruitment. If our kids, our staff, and our administration isn't safe, we don't have anything else. Nothing else matters. Nobody is immune, no community is immune from violent situations, school shootings, fights, anything like that. And that is extremely important to me and my kids. And just to bring a better quality product out of the Crookston School District, for lack of a better term. We're a customer service organization. students, family, and parents. If you don't have the support of family and parents, you have nothing else. And I believe we need to do a much better job at not just being mediocre. I think we need to be good, and we need to strive to be great. Thank you.
Good, nice.
Right.
Happy ones, right on. Okay, the next statement then will be from Mike Tice.
Good evening. I'm Mike Tice. I've lived in Crookston since 1990. I retired 2 years ago from the State Patrol after 33 years of service. Currently, I'm working part-time cop over in Fisher, pretty much a glorified dog and cat catcher, to be honest with you, with the police department. One-man show, that's me. I also drive school bus for the Crookston School District and for Tri-Valley Opportunity Council here in town. It's really kind of fun to watch the kids. They're in special ed route as well as the general ed route, and man, the kids are a blast. I'm on the school board, been on the school board for a little over 5 years, enjoy immensely. I have 2 children that have graduated. One is Jared. He's got some special needs, so he lives with me. Gone through the special education process for many years through the Crookston School District. My daughter's 22. She's currently going through MBSU and will graduate in December with a teaching in special ed as well as general education at the elementary level. She's extremely excited, as am I, to watch her grow as a young adult. The Crookston School District, they both went through and are successful young adults. As far as activities within the district, I'm an active member of the Trinity Lutheran Church, and I also have my fur babies that I can't forget, my dog Otis and my cat Fred. For all those that think names are strange, yeah, that's strange. As far as running for school district, I've enjoyed my time. I think we need to be more accountability driven. We need to look at data, raw data. If it's negative, if it's positive, we need to take that into account, make policies within the district as far as a school board to implement and have our staff and our administration to be able to go forth with the successful future of our students. And I will end with that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And now we'll have the opening statement from Casey Thompson.
Hi, I was born and raised in Crookston. My husband and I have 2 children, both in the Crookston School District. Our daughter just started school readiness this year. She's 3. And our son, we participate in a lot of ECFE activities. I currently work at Riverview. I'm the finance director. So my department does the payroll and the accounts payable, accounting, that kind of stuff. One of the main reasons why I decided to run for school board is my daughter. She is I would say mostly full-time wheelchair user. She does like to crawl when she thinks it's going to be faster. But she just started school this year, and we really learned over the last 3 years how to advocate her as far as healthcare. So I want to take those skills and learn how to, or I want to use those skills to advocate for her and other kids like her in the school district. Make sure that all kids have access to quality education and the activities the school offers. I think that I think there's a lot of great assets at Crookston schools that we could really market. I think when we first came into Washington School, I heard so many horror stories from other parents, not from here, from all over about IEP meetings and starting school and accommodations, and we've had nothing but a wonderful experience there, and would just like to make sure that everybody else gets that same experience that carries through all the schools. Another thing that I really think is important with our older kiddos especially is mental health, and I really think it's important that the school can provide resources or connect them to them. I get in there.
Okay, so now we'll have a statement from Connie Wilkins.
Hi there, my name is Connie Wilkins. My husband, his name is Troy, and we reside just outside of the city of Crookston here. We have 2 boys. One just graduated this last spring, and the other one is in 7th grade. My children are older now, and I feel that I have a little bit more time to give back to the community. Right now, I currently am active in the union, currently holding the secretary position there. I also recently just concluded a 4-year term as a board member at the St. Paul's Lutheran Church, and I'm also active on the stewardship committee. I feel I'd be a good asset to the school board as I don't jump to conclusions. I gather all information and try to look at all different aspects before making my decision. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So now for the questions. The questions were drawn from what was submitted through the public survey. Themes emerged and were shared with the candidates in advance. So this is a large group. So we have 6 questions and 7 candidates. So clearly before we're done with the first iteration, will be second time around. But these are the questions that reflect what the public really wanted to know about. So we go through them all once, and then it's randomly ordered. So when you hear the questions, maybe you'll get that one for your second question, maybe not. Keeps it exciting. So I think what we'll do is we'll just go in reverse alphabetical order for this first question. So that puts Connie Wilkins on the hot seat. And your question is, what educational and/or professional expertise would you bring to the school board?
For the expertise, like I said, I was just part of the school board, or the St. Paul's Lutheran Church board. We did a lot of budgeting, and when I started, it was through the COVID, so we had a lot of policies and procedures that we had to do. And I just think that, you have to look at all aspects of that.
Okay. So question number 2, which will go to Casey Thompson, is how can the school district promote equitable access for children of all races, income levels, and learning styles to school educational and extracurricular offerings? I'm happy to repeat that too.
What's that?
Yeah. How can the school district promote equitable access for children of all races, income levels, and learning styles to school educational and extracurricular offerings?
I think probably the biggest way we can do that is making sure that we continue to employ good teachers who know the value of including every student. I also think it's really important for parents to know how to communicate with the school. That is something that I found a little difficult before we started this school year. Who to go to, or who you can talk to if you have an idea or a concern. I think another thing we need to look at is, Minnesota is an open enrollment state, and about 10% of students utilize that. And I know surveys have been done in the past. I think we should figure out what those reasons are, why students in our district don't attend our schools, and try to actively work at those.
Okay, thank you. So the next question, which will be for Mike Tice, is how can the school district, especially the high school, work more closely with the university?
And if I can, I'd like to expand that to not just the university, but also the city of Crookston. We have to, what I would like to see is more of a collaborative effort. It's starting in the school district, but I'd like to form a ad hoc committee of sorts that we would meet, anything that we would meet with, like the equivalent, the chancellor's office. We would meet with the equivalent of their school board, in essence. It's not the regions, obviously we would go to all the cities, but meet to discuss anything that has to do with education of students. We should be meeting and discussing policies. how it can best utilize resources, finite resources. Taxes are always a burden. To be able to work together as a community, I would also include the city of Crookston in that we should be working to utilize all our facilities in an equitable and fair manner as a unit, not separate units.
Okay, thank you. So the question for Adam Schiller is, discuss your position on parental involvement in decisions concerning school curriculum and related materials such as library holdings.
Well, as a parent, I think it starts with me and it stops with me, and supporting the teachers in the middle is the most important part. But it ultimately is up to me what my kids can or should not learn. If there's personal agendas being pushed in the classroom, I will remove my kids. If there's curriculum that I don't agree with, I should have the right to talk to the teacher and express my concerns and choose whether or not my kids want to participate in it from there. I think parents need to be the first and foremost and most involved in those decisions.
Okay, thank you. The next question for Jacqueline Martin is, how will you leverage the new multi-purpose sports complex to recruit new student enrollment at Crookston High School?
Well, I think there are multiple ways that we can use that to recruit new students. One of the things I'd like to see is talk about new ways to use a complex more than just sports. Specifically talking about, the Carrick's Radio Stadium, but also the Crookston Sports Center. I think, has anyone thought about maybe an outdoor graduation for our seniors at the new football field? We did that in college and it was beautiful. Everybody enjoyed that. Brought a lot of families, there's plenty of room. Another idea was maybe using that for outdoor concerts, whether it's a spring or fall concert for band, choir, or even school dances. Just kind of thinking outside the box, I think is a great idea. But also, you just saw when we had our first home game, kids coming out in between halftime and playing, and all the families and other kids that came out was so great to see. And I think continuing to do those things will bring new students.
Okay, thank you. So the next question for Lori Capistran is, identify and discuss one of your priorities for the school board.
I think one of our priorities probably needs to be becoming better at planning, long-term planning. I feel like there's many times where we kind of are behind the eight ball and we're always reactive instead of have thought about things in advance and made a good plan for them, made a good decision, worked out the details, and I think that's probably overall, if we could do that more in many of the different areas, we would be much farther ahead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that was the 6 questions, which will now come out in a different order for different people to answer. So, Melissa Burnett, you get to answer. Discuss your position on parental involvement in decisions concerning school curriculum and related materials, such as library holdings.
So I read that on the question sheet, and it brought me back to the issue last year in Bemidji where there was the struggle over Alex Sherman book, and I read that book. It's pretty amazing. So I think that when it comes to things like that, I agree that parents should be in constant communication about what our children are learning. Granted, I feel like our teachers are our teachers for a reason, and we're not. So there's a limit, I think, to what it is a parent should be able to try and dictate with their children's education. that sounds strange. But realistically, I think that parents should know what their children are learning, but a teacher should not be bringing, I can't imagine a teacher is bringing something inappropriate to a table just to bring that. There's a learning experience behind everything, and if we're being real here, our children are currently probably watching and seeing a lot more outside of our school district than they are inside of our school district. So.
Okay. All right, thank you. I think now everyone is going to get one more question, and I'm going to start in the middle of the table and do something like that. So, so the next question is going to go to Adam Schiller, and it is, how can a school district promote equitable access for children of all races, income levels, and learning styles to school educational and extracurricular offerings?
Well, I think as a public institution, income level and any of that doesn't play, it shouldn't matter. If there's a student that maybe perhaps can't afford athletic fees, that's why we have athletic boosters. If there's a student of a different race that is having troubles and struggling with class or bullying or things like that, that's why we have peer advisors, that's why we have a trained administration. In my belief, none of that should have a play in how we decide how to run the district. We decide to run the district for our kids, no matter what color, no matter what income level. Like I said, we are a public institution and we should provide an equal opportunity product to everybody involved.
Okay. So the next question is for Jacqueline Martin, and it is, identify and discuss one of your priorities for the school board.
So a priority would be to help get our district back on track and being competitive with surrounding areas. So one of those things we need to do definitely is focus on our educational goals. What are they? How do we achieve them? How do we exceed them? Also, I don't think it's a bad idea to check with surrounding schools. What extra things are they doing to ensure students are successful in academics, arts, athletics? I think getting the community involved is a great thing too. We're already kind of doing that. We're fundraising for our own inclusive playground. We have great facilities now, multiple programs, including our new KRX radio stadium, and continuing to improve our schools will get kids here and it'll also keep kids here. And then also to continue to advertise, which will help us become one of the competitive schools, right? I just watched a part of the soccer game last night in KRX, had an awesome commercial about education destination in Crookston and how it can bring new and current students. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, you have to imagine me looking at questions and lists of names, and I'm trying not to embarrass myself or anyone else here. So this question is for Lori Capistran. What educational and or professional expertise would you bring to the school board?
Well, my educational background is actually in engineering, so hopefully just a well-rounded knowing what it takes to go on to college. I've been a part of a lot of different groups and organizations, so hopefully I can bring the skills needed to work with a diverse group of people. I'm definitely willing to learn. I'm definitely the first to admit that I don't know all there is to know about being a school board member, so I think my willingness to learn, to step back, to take the time to gather enough information before decisions get made, and to be a well-informed member of the board.
Thank you. So for Melissa Burnett, how can the school district, especially the high school, work more closely with the university?
I think that they could just potentially open better lines of communication. Communication is key, so in order to work with someone, you have to be able to communicate with them. Or maybe what they can do to help each other. Communication is a huge part of everything in life, so if we can utilize the university, and the university can potentially utilize some of the things that our high school has to offer. If they can just open those lines of communication and figure out how we could help each other, that'd be just the most beneficial.
Okay, great, thank you. So now we will go down to the far end of the table, and the question for County Wilkins is, identify and discuss one of your priorities for the school board.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Identify and discuss one of your priorities for the school board.
Trying to find out why there's people leaving the school district, identifying it, and trying to reach out and actually figure a way to bring these people back and promote the school district.
Good. All right. Casey Thompson, what educational and/or professional expertise would you bring to the school board?
Currently, in my role as finance director at Riverview, one of the main goals of my position is to figure out how we can secure funding so that we can provide our patients with the services they need. That's something that I would, I also brought into my personal life when we have needed things for our child's medical needs. We found funding and ways to make things happen, so I'd really like to bring that to the school district as well. How do we get projects funded and make sure that all of our students have what they need?
Okay, thank you. So the final question goes to Mike Tice, and it is, how will you leverage the new multi-purpose sports complex to recruit new student enrollment at Crookston High School?
The facility that our taxpayers authorized through the referendum is bar none one of the best in Northwest Minnesota. We should be proud of that as a community. What I would like to do on that is this new facility. I just was at a Region 8 Minnesota State High School League meeting today, met with the region secretary as well as we dealt with our athletic director, and we're trying to host tournaments and bring money into the community. That would not only bring money to our school district, because obviously we would get reimbursed for that, we would bring money to our businesses, and we would bring people into our facility. Other students would see our facility, and hopefully those that could open enroll to our school if they so choose. We should invite other communities to use that facility, including UMC, as well as the surrounding communities. There will be demand for that. Obviously, we'll be using that, but park and rec opportunities, internal use and external use, as well as using community education, we should be able to use that to draw people into our community.
Okay, thank you. So now the final piece, the final opportunity for the candidates to talk directly to you, the voters, is they have a 1-minute closing statement, and I think because we began going in alphabetical order, we will come in alphabetical reverse order up the table for the closing statements. So, Connie Wilkins, we have a minute.
Oh, this is tough. I just want to say that, I have experience with the church board. I've done some education myself as teaching first aid and CPR. I've been an active member on different boards throughout the community, and I just think that I would be a good asset to the school board that would just look at all aspects before coming to a conclusion and jumping to conclusions.
Okay, thank you. So then, Casey Thompson, if you'd like to share your closing statement.
I really think it's important to make sure all of our students feel like they belong in the school district. I think that another thing that's pretty important to me is involving the community or connecting students and families to the community. I do think things feel very segregated And there are community groups that could bridge some of those gaps. I also really would like to explore how we can provide more mental health services to our kids, like I said. Is that my timer?
Yes, no, that was someone else's timer, actually. So, all right, so, Mike Tice, what have you got for us?
Obviously, I appreciate your vote. I've been on the school board for over 5 years. I'm an active member on the finance committee as well as the negotiation committee. We meet with our business manager and the superintendent to provide guidance and input for strategic planning for the future of our district in all areas, whether or not it be for the students, our staff, as well as the community as a whole. I'm active in the school. I normally am in each building, not Washington as much, but the middle school and the high school, as well as Highland. Usually on a weekly basis, I'll stop in and talk to whether or not it be custodians, principals, staff. I've stopped in on Mrs. Davidson's classroom. Board members should be active in their school, and I am. I take our student success seriously, and I will push for continued accountability for our test scores to improve, and hopefully in the future, our kids will be more and more prepared for future life outside the walls of Crookston High School and our district. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next statement then from Adam Schiller.
First, thank you for just the opportunity to be here. Like Mike said, I'd appreciate your vote. I'll vote for you if you vote for me. I'm going to wrap my 4 bullet points up. I mean, if we don't have a safe place to teach and learn and provide the product we're trying to turn out, it's pointless to even send them in the mornings. And really the quality of education that we can provide. And the fiscal responsibility. I think a lot of people have thought for several years that this district is just an open checkbook. And I do not agree with that at all. There needs to be accountability and responsibility with the money we're spending. And retention and recruitment, that's not just students. That's teachers that have been here a year or two and use Crookston as a springboard to bounce away and teach somewhere else. It's staff, it's administration, and it is students. And as a parent, I think it starts there. You know, an example of just the way our school year started, with the high school starting one day and the elementary school starting the other day, that was a huge inconvenience. And it's things like that that I think we overlook. And I'd like to be able to pick that apart and look at it a little closer. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Chaplain Martin.
I think I would be a good fit for the school board because I bring a lot of different viewpoints. First and foremost, as a mom of 3 kids currently in the district, all different grade levels, a junior, freshman, and a middle schooler. And you know, hearing some of their stories over the years of what's going on, some positive, some not so positive. I think being that voice for our children, our students, is really important. Also as a teacher aspect, with my elementary education degree and having some experience teaching kids and mentoring them, I think that's an important view that could be utilized on the board, as well as being a resident of the Crookston School District, specifically Crookston. You know, I've been here all my life, again, other than leaving for college. And also my current role, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I've been with social services for about 15 years, working pretty closely with families. So, and I also think that I'm a really level-headed thinker that does have the ability to see all sides. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Board Campus Trainer.
Well, as I mentioned before, I said I think I'm pretty open-minded. I am willing to listen and definitely willing to learn. I'm committed. Those that know me know that if I commit to doing something, I'm going to give it 100% and make sure that I see the job get done. I truly care about the kids in our district. I've spent quite a lot of time over the years my kids have been here involved with the PTOs and just spending time in the school. And I would really appreciate your vote in November. Thank you.
Thank you. Melissa?
I think that I'd be a great fit for our school board, as I can bring a voice for our children and our parents as well as our educators. I've spent a lot of my life advocating for individuals, and I'm currently doing that now as a para at Washington Elementary School. I've been advocating for my children, myself, and our community for a long time. If you know me, you know that's just something that I have always enjoyed doing. I have a pretty strong voice and I like to use it. I think that I'll be able to bring a lot of positives, a lot of life experience and learning experience to our board. And I can't wait to learn a lot more about it.
Okay, thank you. So I think we want to thank everyone, not just for coming to this forum tonight and answering questions and whatnot, but for running for school board. It's such a central function for a community. So let's give everyone a round of applause. Being an informed voter is again, a service to the community. I think, and do not forget to actually vote when it's time to vote. That's closing the loop on this process. Every vote matters. So thanks to everyone for coming. The candidates will be downstairs if you want to talk further with them, and get home safely. Thank you.